Well, shit. Hello YouTube, this is Northern Scrub from Team R.K.M, today bringing you a Spyral Deck Profile. Basically we've been waiting for this now because all the support from Maximum Crisis is out now, so we've been kind of holding back, waiting until we got all of our support instead of having to put proxies in the deck instead. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this now. I hope you all enjoy it. Obviously this is just a guide for you guys. I'm not going to tell you how to play your decks, but obviously there are some things I'm just going to recommend throughout the video. Also, this is going to be the first part of our video. The next profile we upload is actually going to be MacScrub's profile for his spirals, as we do play two different versions. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that, and I hope you're all looking forward to it. Until then, we're just going to go straight into the deck. So, obviously the first thing you saw on top of the deck there was triple Spyral Super Agent. This guy is the main key piece of the deck. Obviously, he's your main beater. You can special summon from the hand by calling the top card of your opponent's deck. And then, obviously, upon summon of himself or by another Spyral card, he can pop a back row as well. Obviously, you can pump him up with the stuff of like Fully Armed or the Drone, and then you can just beat over stuff that way. So yeah, I would recommend 3 of him. I personally wouldn't recommend any less. Next card up we are running 2 Spyral Toughs. I'm running 2 Spyral Tough because I found 3 of them was a bit bricky. Obviously he doesn't have the same special summoning condition as the Super Agent. Although in the hand or graveyard, he is actually treated as Spyral Super Agent. No, sorry, field or graveyard, I should say, not hand or grave. So yeah, he can be summoned off of stuff like he can be equipped with the likes of Fully Armed. You can summon it with the second effect of Fully Armed. You can equip it with the Last Resort. Obviously, he's got good spot removal for what he is as well, just being a little level 4 warrior. You can search him with the Rotor, same with Super Agent, or even or the Field Spell Resort. And like I said, he's good spot removal once per turn. Target a card, call top card of your opponent's deck, and then if you call it right, you get to destroy their card. He does also help you summon out the Super Agents as well, which is pretty nice. So I like him as a 2-off. Next up, which is a little bit of a controversial card, I run 2 of, is 2 Spygal Misties. Oh, I hate that name, I really do. The G not being an R really fucks over this deck. Again, she kind of helps getting out the Super Agents as well, because when she's normal or special summoned, you then get to call the top card of your opponent's deck. If it's that card type, you then get to draw a card. Also as well, she does have the Kirin style effect of if you control Super Agent, you can target your Super Agent and one monster your opponent controls, bounce them both back to the hands. So personally, I feel like she's too good to not run, so I like to run her as a nice 2-off. Next up, we are running the biggest combo maker in the deck, which is 3 Spyral Quick Fix. It's a nice target for Machine Dupe. I mean, personally, it's the reason why I run Machine Dupe in my deck, which I will go over in just a moment. Obviously, when it's normal special summoned, you get to add out a Spyral Gear card. So you can add out your Drone, your Quick Fixes, your Big Reds. Sorry, not Quick Fix. I don't know why I said that. So you get to add out your Drones, your Big Reds, your Fully Armed, stuff like that. And obviously, where you Machine Dupe it and his effects not once per turn, you can normal summon it, search off, play Machine Dupe, summon 2 more, get 2 more searches, and then you can go into some rank 1 shenanigans as well. So I find these pretty nice. Next up, we are running 2 of the new cards from Maximum Crisis, 2 Spyral Last Resort, Spyral Gear Last Resort. So what this card lets you do is you can equip it to one of your Spyral monsters, and then it becomes undestroyable by card effects, by battle, and it can't be targeted by card effects as well. So obviously, you know, equipping this to your Tough or your Super Agent makes it incredibly good to just stop your opponent trying to out your board. Obviously, they've got to try and, like, pop it in the back row zones or something like I don't know, Masterpiece or Slip Rider or even Dryden can get rid of this. But, you know, it's better than popping your Super Agent or your Tough and trying to clear your board. Next up, we are running 2 Spyral Gear Drones. Thing has the best ability in the game. When it's normal or special summoned, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and then rearrange them in any order. So obviously you can then force your opponent into bricking, which is incredible strategy. I would recommend doing it all the time. Obviously, as well, it has its effect as if you control another Spyral card, you can tribute this guy, target the Spyral card you control, and then that card gains 500 attack for each card your opponent controls. So you can really pump up your agents with this guy. Obviously, as well, I mean, I know I only run the 2-off, but he is also a Machine Dupe target as well. Next up, for the final monster, we are running the 1 Spyral Sleeper. This is another card I tried to run as a 2-off. I found it to be a bit bricky online playtesting. He's a good boss monster, sadly not normal summonable, although his special summoning is just too good, because when you got your cards in the grave, like your Resorts and your Big Reds, you can banish 3 cards to summon your Sleeper. You know, just get the dead cards out of the graveyard, get yourself a 28 beater on the board for free, essentially. And then also he has his effective during the player's turn, you can pop one of your Spyral cards to destroy 2 of your opponent's cards. I find it's really nice because you can do like blowing up your fully armed and then destroy 2 cards your opponent controls, and then fully armed or destroyed, you then get to summon a super agent. So, you know, you can just get some real good utility off of Sleeper that way. Also, he can target himself and destroy himself and then hit 2 cards the opponent controls. He does then nuke your board, but you then get a super agent out of your deck, and then he can snipe a back row as well because he was summoned off a Spyral card effect. So I find he's a really nice one-off. Obviously, he is searchable off of the field spell as well. Speaking of said field spell, we are running 3 Spyral Resorts. The card is just too good to not run 3 off personally. I'd recommend it for any Spyral deck. Obviously, because the card is just that important, you know, it searches out all your Spyral cards, it makes all your Spyrals untargetable. It then also has the effect of putting in a Spyral, any monster from your grave back into your deck during the end phase, otherwise the card's destroyed. Sometimes you do find that you don't have that monster to put back in, but obviously if you've got a few like rank 1s, like the card I'm going to go over in a little while, you can detach off of that, get a search off, and then also that's put the monster in the graveyard to then keep your resort alive, which is quite nice. And because the card's just that important, I run 2 terraformings as well just to search it out. Again, I personally feel like the card's too important to not run as a 3-off, so I mean, like I said, I'm not telling you guys how to play your decks, but that's just a personal recommendation. Next card I'm running 2 of is 2 Spyral Gear Fully Armed. This is one of the new cards from Maximum Crisis as well. This card is incredible. It is just a searchable Axe of Despair for your super agents. Also, it allows you to banish your opponent's monster you destroy by battle, and then also banish another card on the field. So with that, that then allows you to get around stuff like Cosmo Towns, like Metal Foes combinations, anything that's, when it's destroyed by card effect, you then get an effect off, so you can just out cards like that. Also, it can do some nice stuff like banishing cards in Pendulum Zones and field spells as well. So yeah, and where it's searchable by Quick Fix and Resort, I'd recommend it as a 2-off. Next up, we are running 2 Big Reds. This thing is essentially just the Monster Reborn for the deck. It's an equip spell, so you activate it by targeting a Spyral in graveyard, you special summon it, and then you equip it to this card, with this card, and then it makes that monster undestroyable by battle as well. You can only activate Big Red once per turn, which is kind of annoying. Although it does allow some nice utility with quick fixes in grave and also your super agents as well, because if you summon your super agent with this, you then get to pop a back row as well, which is really nice. So yeah, and where it's searchable by the drones as well, I would only run 2 of. Not drone, sorry, the quick fix, should have said that. Next up is a nice one-off. I'm running 1 Spyral Mission Assault. I run this card as a, I don't know, a sort of a combo builder, really. Helps you plus a little bit over the course of a few turns. So you destroy it during your 3rd end phase after activation. And then, once per turn, if a Spyral card you control destroys the opponent's monster by battle or by a Spyral card effect, you then get to draw a card. So, when you're summoning your super agents, or you're running stuff over by battle with your Tufts or your agents, or even your Spyral Sleeper, you then get pluses off of it, which is quite nice. And you can also banish it from the graveyard to summon a Spyral from your hand. So one thing I do like to do is I like to actually just pitch this off of something like Twin Twister, or even discard it for the effect of Quick Fix in grave to resummon him. You then get to just banish it, summon a Spyral from your hand, and go off that way. Next up, we are running 2 Machine Dooms. As I said to you earlier, in the Quick Fix situation, you just play this, you summon out 2 of your Quick Fixes, get another 2 searches off, and then you can go for some more rank 1 plays. I mean, another lesser play you can do with it is, in my deck, I know I only run the 2 drones, but you can play it on 1 drone, bring out your other drone, make a rank 1, and then just combo off that way. Next up, we are running just some general destruction, really. So we are running 1 Raigeki and 2 Twin Twisters. We play these cards, obviously, because, you know, getting around stuff like back row and just nuking the opponent's board and going for game is very helpful. Obviously, you know, mass destruction is quite useful in this game nowadays. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory, to be fair. And then next we're just running a few little one-offs, really. We're just running 1 Upstart Goblin. Card is limited, so we can't run more than 1, obviously. So, you know, just draw a card, give your opponent 1,000 life points. When you're giving your opponent 1,000 life points, it doesn't matter so much, because, well, you've got your fully arms. That gives you 1,000 attack to make up for that anyway. Also, your drones can just pump you up to help you go for the OTK plays as well. Next up, we are running 1 Reinforcement to the Army. Again, obviously, this is just a nice little searcher for your Tufts and your Super Agents, so you can just search these out. Just get a nice little +1 off of it. Well, break even, but, you know, it helps your deck thin. And then next up, we're running 1 Soul Charge. This card is awesome in every deck, I personally think. Obviously, it can help you steal some games, set up some unbreakable boards, and then just sit on that and wait for next turn, then just try and go for game. And then finally, we are running 1 1-for-1. Obviously, we can just pitch a card like our rescue missions or anything like other monsters and summon our quick fixes from the deck, get another search off, and then just start comboing off that way, add out a big red, summon a super agent, that kind of play there. Finally, we are onto the traps. So I'm running 2 Spyral Year utility wires. I'm running 2 of this because it's just a Phoenix Wing Blast for the Archetype, essentially. So it is searchable off of your quick fixes and your resorts. Obviously helps you combo off, and it can get your super agents out of your hand if you activate it during your opponent's end phase. Just put a card on top of their deck. You then, in your main phase, you just go, right, you've got that card on top of your deck, summon super agent. And then obviously you can just snipe out back rows as well, which is quite nice. We are also running one of the final card from Maximum Crisis, which is 1 Spyral Rescue Mission. Destroy during your third end phase, as you do with every other Spyral missions. But I find this one actually quite good. I'm tempted to bump it up to 2, really, because it's actually that useful. Basically, once per turn, you get to add a Spyral card from your graveyard to your hand, which is quite nice. So you can add something like your quick fixes back to your hand, your Tufts, your super agents, anything like that. And then you can just normal summon them or special summon them. Shenanigans that way, really, and it just helps you get good combos off. Also, you can banish it from the graveyard as well to actually summon a Spyral from your graveyard. So again, I like to just pitch it off of Twin Twisters, or even Quick Fix, banish it, summon a super agent from the graveyard or a Tuft from the graveyard, and then just, you know, expand from there, really. And also, you can do the banish effect of both the missions the turn they are sent to graveyard as well, which is pretty important to mention. Finally, for our last 3 traps, we are running a Solemn Brigade, so we are running 1 warning and 2 strikes. The reason we run these is because obviously there are so many monsters now, you just do not want them to hit the board. Obviously things like your Tridents, any Metal Foes fusions, anything like that, you just don't want them hitting the board, and you just need to get rid of them as soon as possible. So, you know, I'd recommend a Solemn Brigade in any deck. And now we're on to the extra deck. Basically, my build is more of a sort of rank 4 toolbox. So I don't really descend into the extra deck that often, but, you know, when I do, I kind of try and mainly use it for outs. So to begin with, we are using a sort of semi-Utopia package here. I'm not running the Prime because I personally feel like you don't need the Prime. Obviously, you know, if you've been playing this game for a little while, you'll know what the Lightning does. He's just 5k punching, you can't do anything about it. So, yeah, I don't really feel like I need to say too much about those two, to be fair. Next up is a quirky sort of one-off card that I do really like, which is number 98 Antitopian. I run this guy because he's just a nice defensive little option. During either player's turn, when any player's monster declares an attack, you can detach and change their monster to defense position. So when you're going against like a zoo matchup, for example, and they're about to just drop triple Whiptail, you can just go, okay, Antitopian, detach, put it in defense mode, and then just completely just shut them down there. You can completely shut down the battle phase with something like Zoo as well. Obviously, you know, they get a big beat stick out like a Trident with 3 Whiptails on it. They got a 3/6 beat that can pop stuff, so it's always good to go that way. It also has a pretty nice effect as well. During either player's turn, whilst he's in the graveyard and you control a Utopia monster, so we'll just get Lightning out for this example. So if you got the Lightning on the field and he's in grave, you can just special summon out the Antitopian and then attach the Lightning to it as a material. So, you know, it's just a nice recyclable little defensive option, really. So I would recommend it. I mean, not a lot of people know about this card. I mean, I'm sure there are better extra deck options, but, you know, I like my quirky stuff. Next up for another one of our outs. This is number 70, Malevolent Sin. I run this guy because he's basically the rank 4 equivalent of a Cyphering Lord Zeta. You can detach a card, target one monster your opponent controls, and then you banish it until your opponent's next standby phase. So you can just out some monsters that can't be destroyed by card effects, which is pretty nice. Obviously, you know, that monster does return during the standby phase, like I said, but if you can get them off and just get a few cheeky hits, and it's more than worth it. Next up, we are running the 1 Castell. Again, if you've been in this game for a little while, I'm sure I don't need to tell you what Castell's good for. Basically, detach to spin any card off the field back into the deck. And it's well worth playing. So yeah. Next up, I'm going to kind of put these two together because I wasn't too sure about these two. I put them in together, but I'll kind of explain a bit more here. So we're running the 1 Tornado Dragon and the 1 Diamond Direwolf. The reason I put these two together is because I was actually thinking of forking out for a second Tornado Dragon, but then I kind of had second thoughts because, you know, Diamond Dire can just out monsters as well, so, you know, detach, blow himself up and pop a monster. It does seem like a bit of a neg with Diamond Dire, but, you know, I would recommend it. Obviously, Tornado Dragon's decent as well, just popping back rows, so, you know, I'd recommend these two in the deck as well. Next up, we are running a bit of effect negation now, so 1 Giant Hand. Obviously, you know, during the player's turn when a monster effect activated, you can detach 2 materials off this guy and then negate that monster's effects. So, you know, I'd recommend Giant Hand because, you know, with the Solemn Brigade as well, sometimes that just isn't enough, and you can just use this guy to sort of try and stop some effects on the board. Next up, we are running the 1 Steel Swarm Roach. The reason I run this guy is because he's just good against big Synchro or Fusion decks, so anything like Ancient Gears, Synchrons, Crystrons, anything like that where you can just attach, stop a summon, and then just stop them expanding their board any way you can. So yeah, I mean, personally, he's a really good rank 4. I think he's very underestimated, and I'd recommend it. Next up, we are running the 1 Abyss Dweller. This card is absolute bliss against the Infernoid matchup. Obviously, when they go to summon all their monsters from the graveyard, you can just attach and completely cut them off from the wherever. So yeah, I'd recommend Abyss Dweller in the extra deck as well. Finally, we are running for our rank 4s, 1 Samurai and 1 Cowboy. I'll be honest, Cowboy for game was just too funny not to run, I'll be honest with you. But Samurai's a nice little one-of as well. Obviously, he can put like 38 damage on the board as well and hit twice. That's quite a nice little card to run as well. Finally, we're on to some rank 1s now. This is a quirky one now that I'm kind of in love with because you can just get it off from Machine Dip, is 1 Lionheart. Obviously, if you're against a deck with big beaters, something like Monarchs or Blue Eyes or even Cosmos, you can just summon this guy, crash into their biggest monster, and make a shit ton of damage. So I personally recommend him in Spirals because he's well worth summoning. And then the next 2 cards I'm going to put down, I'm running it as a 2-of actually. It's the only 2-of monster I'm running in my extra deck. But it's kind of a bit of indirect support that came out of Maximum Crisis, which is Sylvan Princess Sprite. Basically, 2 level 1 monsters. You can attach material from her, look at the top card of your deck, well, excavate the top card of your deck. If it's a spell or trap card, you add it to hand. If it's a monster, you send it to graveyard. So the way I look at Princess Sprite is you're either going to add something like a Strike or a Warning or a Twin Twisters or even Raigeki to your hand. If not, you're going to add your big reds to your hand. If not, you're going to put monsters in your grave to summon with the big reds. So yeah, I would really recommend this if you are playing Spirals. Even just 1-of, I mean, I run the 2 because, well, a card I was going to run was Ghost Trick Dullahan, but unfortunately I don't have one, so I just thought maybe the second Princess Sprite. And sometimes if you can get 2 out and resolve both of their effects both times in a game, it can really help you deck thin as well. So, that's the deck profile, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you really have some fun feedback for us. As I said, in the next few days, hopefully we will get MacScrub's Spyral Deck Profile out to you. So yeah, if you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.